You got the raise. You finally crossed that salary number you used to dream about 2 years ago. And somehow, you still have $400 left before payday, and you genuinely don't know where the rest went. If that sentence just made you a little uncomfortable, good. Stay right there. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't about budgeting apps. It isn't about cutting your coffee, and it isn't about some spreadsheet trick you've already tried and abandoned. It's about something a lot quieter and honestly a lot more uncomfortable. The reason your bank account doesn't grow, no matter how much your salary does. Here's what today's video is going to walk through. We're going to look at the actual psychological reasons, not the surface level ones. Why people earning good money still end up broke by the end of the month. We'll talk about why your brain treats a raise like a green light to spend instead of a chance to build wealth. We'll talk about the invisible comparisons running in the background of your mind every single day. And we'll get into why "I'll start saving next month" has probably been a sentence you've said to yourself more times than you'd like to admit. This isn't a lecture. I'm not here to make you feel bad about your bank balance. I just want to show you the machinery behind it, because once you see it, you genuinely cannot unsee it. Before we get into it, if this channel is going to be your spot for understanding the psychology behind money, the tricks that actually work, and eventually the deeper philosophy of wealth, hit that subscribe button now. I'm building this channel one honest video at a time, and I'd rather have 100 people who actually think about this stuff than 10,000 who scroll past. So if that's you, welcome. Let's get into it. Let's start with the moment that quietly ruins most people's finances. The raise. You get a promotion, or you switch jobs for a better offer. Your income jumps by 20, 30, maybe 50%, and for the first month or two, it feels incredible. You finally have breathing room. But here's what almost nobody talks about. Your spending doesn't stay flat. It rises to meet your new income almost automatically, and it does this so gradually that you don't even notice it happening. Economists have a name for this: lifestyle inflation, sometimes called hedonic adaptation. Your brain gets used to a new standard of living shockingly fast, and once it's used to it, going backward feels like a loss. Even if going backward just means going back to how you lived 8 months ago and were perfectly happy. So the extra money you earn doesn't go toward your future. It goes toward upgrading your present. A better apartment, a nicer car, eating out more because you deserve it now. None of these decisions feel reckless in the moment. Each one seems small and justified on its own. But stack them together, and your raise has been fully absorbed before you even realized it arrived. This is the first trap. More income does not automatically mean more wealth. It just means a more expensive version of broke. Now here's the second piece, and this one is even sneakier because it doesn't even feel like a decision. It feels like a fact. Human beings evaluate their financial situation almost entirely through comparison. Not against some absolute number, but against the people around them. Co-workers, friends, family, and now, thanks to social media, thousands of strangers whose lives are curated to look better than yours. You don't think, "Am I financially secure?" You think, "Am I doing okay compared to them?" And that second question is a trap with no finish line, because there is always someone spending more, traveling more, driving something newer. Your brain isn't built to compare you against your own past self and ask, "Am I better off than I was last year?" It's built to compare you against your surroundings and ask, "Am I falling behind?" This is why even people earning what would have sounded like a fortune to their younger selves still feel financially anxious. The number on their salary slip changed. The comparison group changed right along with it. You get a better job. You start hanging around people with better jobs, and the bar just moves with you. You're not actually falling behind anyone. You're running on a treadmill that speeds up exactly as fast as you do. Here's something that explains almost every "I know I should save, but I don't" moment you've ever had. Your brain, when thinking about your future self, activates in a way that's surprisingly similar to how it processes thinking about a complete stranger. Read that again. Neurologically, thinking about you in 10 years isn't that different from thinking about some random person you've never met. That's why it's so easy to spend money today and so hard to save for a version of yourself that doesn't feel emotionally real yet. Spending now gives your present self an immediate, tangible reward. Saving gives a reward to someone who, as far as your brain is concerned, might as well be a stranger you're doing a favor for. This is not a willpower problem. This is not you being lazy or undisciplined. This is your brain doing exactly what it evolved to do. Prioritize the immediate, tangible present over an abstract, distant future. Once you understand that the pull towards spending isn't a character flaw, it's a design feature of how human brains work, you stop beating yourself up over it and start building systems that work around it instead of fighting it head-on. Now let's talk about the money you don't even remember spending. If I asked you right now to list every subscription you're currently paying for, could you do it without checking your phone? Most people can't. Streaming services, apps, memberships, small recurring charges that were exciting the day you signed up and have been quietly running in the background ever since. These are what I call invisible expenses. They're too small individually to trigger any emotional reaction, so your brain doesn't flag them as spending decisions at all. A $5 charge doesn't feel like money leaving your life. It feels like nothing. But 10 of those, running every single month for years, is a genuinely significant amount of your income disappearing without a single conscious decision behind any of it. This connects to something psychologists call decision fatigue combined with the pain of paying. Big purchases hurt. You feel it, you hesitate, you think it through. Small recurring purchases barely register at all, which is exactly why they're so dangerous. They bypass the part of your brain that would normally say, wait, do I actually need this? If any of this is landing for you, if you're sitting there mentally listing subscriptions you forgot you had, that's exactly the kind of thing we're going to keep unpacking on this channel. Real psychology, not surface-level tips. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time, because next video we're going deeper into a completely different angle on this. All right? Let's keep going. This next one is a little more personal, and I want you to actually sit with it instead of brushing past it. For a lot of people, spending isn't really about the object being bought. It's about the feeling right before the purchase, that small hit of anticipation, control, or relief. Had a rough day at work? A purchase can feel like reclaiming a piece of control you lost. Feeling bored, anxious, or a bit low? Buying something gives the brain a quick, reliable dopamine response. This is often called emotional spending, and it's one of the most under-discussed reasons good earners stay broke. It's not that they don't understand math. It's that spending has quietly become their go-to way of regulating emotions, and that pattern can exist completely underneath someone's awareness for years. The uncomfortable truth is this. If spending is functioning as a coping mechanism, no budgeting app in the world will fix it, because the problem was never really about the money in the first place. The money is just the symptom showing up on your bank statement. Let's talk about a phrase you've probably said to yourself, "I earned this." On its own, that phrase is completely fine. The problem is how often it gets used as a permission slip for a purchase that has nothing to do with actual need or even genuine want. It's used to justify spending as a reward for existing, for working hard, for surviving a difficult week. The deeper issue here is that a lot of people never separate their income from their identity. When your salary increases, it doesn't just increase your bank balance, it increases your sense of what you're supposed to have access to now. A better income starts to feel like proof you deserve a better lifestyle immediately, rather than proof you now have the option to build something more secure for later. This is where good earners quietly trap themselves. They're not overspending because they're bad with money. They're overspending because somewhere along the way, spending became tied to self-worth, and no salary increase, however large, will ever feel like enough if that's the underlying equation running the show. And finally, let's talk about the sentence almost everyone watching this has said at some point. "I'll start saving properly next month." This isn't laziness. It's what's sometimes called present bias, combined with optimism bias. The belief that your future self will somehow have more discipline, more free time, and fewer expenses than your current self does. Future you, in your imagination, is a slightly better version of you who will definitely stick to the plan. But when next month arrives, it turns into present you again, dealing with the exact same pressures. The exact same emotional patterns and the exact same invisible spending. And so the plan gets pushed forward again. This is precisely why waiting to feel ready to fix your finances almost never works. Because the version of you that feels ready is a fictional character your brain invented to make today's spending feel okay. So let's bring all of this together. You're not broke because you're bad at math. You're not broke because you lack willpower. You're broke because your brain is running old automatic patterns, lifestyle inflation, constant comparison, emotional spending, invisible subscriptions, and a permission mindset, all operating quietly in the background, faster than your conscious decisions can keep up with. The good news in all of this is actually simple. Once you can see a pattern, you can interrupt it. You can't fix what you can't see, and most people go their entire financial lives never once looking at the psychology underneath their spending. Just by watching this video and recognizing even one or two of these patterns in yourself, you're already ahead of where you were 20 minutes ago. In future videos, we're going to get tactical. Real systems, real tricks, ways to actually work around these patterns instead of just understanding them. But I wanted this first real video to start here, at the root, because no amount of tips will stick if the psychology underneath them is working against you. If this video changed even slightly how you think about your own spending, do me a favor and hit subscribe. This channel is going to be a genuinely useful place to actually understand money, not just manage it. I've got a lot more of these coming, and I'd love for you to be here for the next one. I'll see you in the next video.